Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is December the 28th, 2020, and today we're going to be speaking of the last verse in Revelation 14 verse 20. We're not going to stay here though. Let's just do a quick recap. If you just to recall, in Revelation 14, we have the final loud cry that goes out to the church during the 11th hour church. And then it shows, after the loud cry, it shows the resurrection of the saints. The house of Ephraim, those that have died recently while giving the message. Others, we've read through a couple of books, and a couple of saints we saw were coming back during that time. So those people have been reaped, and they come back, and then that leads us to the harvest of the unrighteous. They come back as well. And so it leads us to these last two verses. And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse's bridle, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. Now, when we interpreted this, it gave us the understanding that the life cycle for these people had changed. They could die, but they weren't dead. They were going to live longer and live shorter. Their life cycle had changed, but I didn't really fully have an understanding of how or what that meant at the time. But I found a verse that gave me a little bit more clarification on that, and it's in Zechariah. So we're going to look at Zechariah. I want to tell you in advance that I didn't look up everything in this book. I just wanted to get the information to you. I didn't want to hold it any longer, to be honest with you. I made reference to it in Revelation in the previous video. So I kind of had to get it to you because I spoke about it. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and we'll come back and do the stuff we skip at a later time. It's not a big deal. One moment, hold on. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get to it. Zechariah 14 verse 1. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. Okay, so the day of the Lord, it's in the day of the Lord for the same reasons why it's going to say why it's called the day of the Lord during our time. He's fighting. But in this case, so the day of the Lord during the 9th hour church is the wrath of the Lamb falling upon us. And here again, the wrath is falling, but he says he's going to be fighting against the nations. I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations. I had to read all of it because I don't remember too much of it. I didn't study it that much. Okay, so then shall he go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. The day of battle is when he, let's just look it up because I don't remember. Hold on. I remember one scripture is in Job. So this is the day of the Lord during the 11th hour church when he is fighting against the nations on behalf of his people. And then the day of battle, the original day of battle, was when he was fighting against us. Hold on. Here, I think this is it. I can't recall. But I will kindle a fire in the wall of Rabbah, and it shall devour the palaces thereof, with shouting in the day of battle, with tempest in the day of the whirlwind. But the day of the battle is when he goes against the 9th hour church. So then he's going to fight against those nations as when he fought against us in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem, on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west. And there shall be a very great valley, and half the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. Okay, let's just get a picture going here in our mind. You have a circle, right? So Jerusalem is on the south side of that circle, and right before it on the east is the Mount of Olives. Okay, so then Yahushua's feet, not literally. We know that feet means his dominion. He has dominion over that area, right? So his feet is going to stand that day. He stands in judgment on that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. So when he stands on the Mount of Olives, it cleaves in the midst thereof from the east to the west. And there's going to be a great valley. Why is there going to be a great valley? Because that mountain is going to cleave, and it's going to leave a mountain on the north and a half a mountain on the south. So then you'll have the valley in between. Okay? So that's the picture we have as we continue. And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach into Azel. Yea, ye shall flee, like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee. So the wording is very different than it should be here. Ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains. I'm not going to say ye, because we're no longer a part of that group. It's going to be they shall flee. Those that are undecided. See, because this valley is neutral. If you have two great mountains, one on the south and one on the north, the one on the south is the people of God. The one on the north, because we already know this story. We know exactly what they're talking about here. During that time, during the time of restoration, you're going to have the people of God, and you're going to have the people who are against God. So there's two great mountains living in the same area, sharing the same land. So when they flee to the valley, that's neutral ground. That's between the two mountains. Oh, maybe it would help if I showed you the definition of mountain. Let's take a look at that. A valley. Hold on. Valley. A gorge from its lofty sides, hence narrow, but not a gully or winter torrent. A valley. So the valley is between the two mountains. So when they flee to the mountains, they're trying to get out of the way of everybody. Whoa, wait a second, what's going on? I don't want to be over here. Let me get out of the way of Satan. What's going on over there? Let me get out of their way, because the wrath is falling. So they're trying to get out of the way between these two great powers so that they can have a moment of calm to make a decision. So that's what it's saying when it says they shall flee to the valley. So it's not ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains. Hold on a second. Here we go. Where is it? Here we go. It's those that are not saved yet are going to flee to the valley of the mountains. For the valley of the mountains shall reach into Azel, which is a heathen nation, I do believe. I don't know. A place of Palestine. Okay, not. But it's supposed to, if we read a little bit further, it'll tell you that it's widespread. And they shall flee, like as they fled from before the earthquake. Oh, it says ye because of the earthquake, I'll bet you. Because earthquake, we know, is a shaking of the church. So everyone's religious, and everyone's trying to take the name of God. So maybe that's why it says ye. But there's another area that we're going to have to correct as well. In the days of Uzziah, king of Judah, and the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with him. With him. Okay. And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark. Okay, dark. Okay, so this is just, let's read the next verse. But it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at eventime it shall be light. So this is just describing what the day is going to be like when Yahushua returns. It's not going to be day. It's not going to be night. It's going to be It's going to be in the evening, so it should be dark, but there's going to be light there. And it doesn't say anything about the sun, so it's as though it's going to be dawn, the light of dawn, all over the world without the sun. Because the sun starts at one part of the earth, and it's brighter here than it is over there. Do you see? But when Yahushua returns, there's going to be light, but it doesn't say it's from the sun. It's just going to be, it's going to be the middle of the night, but it's going to look as though it's dawn. Okay, so that's what's being said. And that's just describing the return of Yahushua. And it shall be in that day that living water shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be. So it's saying, and it shall be in that day that living water shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. Half of them, the living waters, half of them toward the former sea is toward the house of Ephraim. Half of them toward the hinder sea. I don't know if it's the refreshing of the people that are there, or if it's for the people that are going to be saved, that become saved, and then they become part of the 144,000. But just from the context, we can tell that it's the living waters are to bring those people that are dead alive, and then to keep the 144,000 alive, basically. But I'm not sure how it's going to work exactly from this verse. I just think, I guess Henderson, I'm not sure. See, because the dead, it's already said in Revelation 14 that the dead don't die. They're going to be alive. Yeah, so I guess that's what it means here, that everybody that's alive is going to be alive. And the dead that are dead, they're going to be alive too. So that's what it's saying. That's what I think it says. So I'm going with that. In summer and in winter shall it be. I didn't look that up. I don't know what that means. Okay. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one. So he's going to be king over all of the earth. But we know from the previous verses that mountain of Satan is still there. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one. All the land shall be turned as a plain from Gibeah to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, and it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place. From Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, from the tower of Hananel, unto the king's wine presses. This is all messed up right here. This whole verse is just messed up. This is all the land. This word means revolves around or border. And then all the land as a plain from Gibeah. A desert, a sterile valley. Oh, hold on a moment. And this, hold on, I think I went out of order. All the land, this word land, earth, all the earth shall encompass as a plain, shall encompass them as a plain from Gibeah to Rimmon. So this is just saying that they're protected, that they have protection. The earth is going to be surrounding them as though it were a plain in the middle of that mountain. It says from Gibeah to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, and it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place. So it's going to be exalted, basically. From Benjamin's gate to the place of the first gate. And it's just giving extremes here. I didn't have to look this up. You can tell by context. From Benjamin's gate to the place of the first gate, and to the corner gate. So you have for the first gate all the way over to the corner gate, whatever space that is. And from the Tower of Hanil unto the king's wine presses. Well, the king's wine presses is the extravagant, right? It's the wine which is extravagant, and it's the king's wine which is the very best of the best. So this Tower of Hanil must be a lowly place. Even though it's a tower, it's a tower of a lowly place. So you have a tower amongst the most lowly. That's what it's trying to say there. But it's giving protection for all of its people, from the most lowly, from the poorest and meekest to the greatest, from even the smallest corners to the first gate, that people see. And men shall dwell in it. We just have 2 more verses. And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited, which is what it was trying to say in this verse as well, which is what it said in this verse. And this shall be the plague, wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongues shall consume away in their mouth. I read through all of that to get you to that verse, to let you see what was going on. Because in Revelation 14, where it says that they're not going to die, their death has changed, this is what's going on. When the people of God are restored to life, the house of Ephraim, when they come back, they're coming back with their rejuvenated bodies, right? Everything's going to be perfect. And I don't know if it's going to be their heavenly bodies, their transcendent, their translated bodies. Probably not. But they're going to come back as the person that they died. But they're not going to come back with bumps and bruises and swords and all this kinds of things. No, they're going to come back and be healthy and thrive and prosperous with perfect bodies to live during this time. Not so with the unrighteous. When the unrighteous come back, if they have a busted hip, they're still going to have a busted up hip when they come back. If they have a heart condition or an old rotten up liver, when they come back, they're going to have those same old aches and pains, those same old problems that they had before they died. But they're not going to die. They're literally the walking dead. They should be dead because they've got the same old problems, but they're alive. That's what it was trying to say in Revelation 14. That's what it was trying to tell us, that they're the dead walking. They're not going to be green or anything like that. They're not going to be rotting. They're just going to be kept alive in spite of the fact that their body would normally have died under those conditions. Do you see? Well, you have to see. It's there. It's right there in front of us. I'll read it again. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And it identifies Jerusalem up here. If you don't recall, I shall gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. So those that have chosen to go against God, now they can flee to the mountain and then decide to come and join God's people. That's for sure. And lots of them, and many of them will. But those that are fighting against Jerusalem, no. When they come back with their old fleshly bodies that are sickly, and the aches and the pains and the damage that's been done to them throughout the lives that they have lived, which eventually brought them to death. So that is what's going on in Revelation 14. I should have seen that. I didn't see it. I didn't understand why that verse was necessary, but I hope that was helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Until next time, Yahweh bless. Bye.